but I read Kevin Acey's
Yeah.
article this morning where he writes Melvin clarifies comments construed as dissatisfaction with the Padres analytics department. So this is from AC. Melvin on Sunday clarified comments he was said to have made regarding the analytics information he's receiving. Melvin maintained he's getting all the data he needs, and the primary difference he initially expressed was that he is not as beholden to analytics with the Padres. He then was quoted as saying, "I'm getting a ton of information." It was in a podcast with David Cohn, where David Cohn said Melvin lamented to him in a conversation before a recent ESPN broadcast that the information he is getting is lacking. This is Cohn. He told me one thing he misses about not being in Oakland is the analytics, because the San Diego analytics department wasn't on par with the Oakland A's analytics department. In particular, matchups for his bullpen late in the game. He wishes he had the information he had with Oakland that he doesn't have with San Diego right now. Melvin then said this. He asked about the analytics. My point was, in Oakland, you have to be disciplined with analytics we have in deploying matchups in the game. Here, you don't have to be as much. That's really where I think he got it. Plus, I was referring to R&D, research and development, because that's what we call it here. And maybe he thought we don't have analytics that we deploy. We do have it. We have a big department. I think he just got confused in what I was saying and the fact that we have leeway to do what we want as far as pitching matchups during the course of a game, where in Oakland, you have to be really disciplined with what the sheet in the dugout tells you to do. What do you think?
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, is it?
I think at the end of the day, maybe you just chalk it up to miscommunication,
Yeah,
or
maybe.
at least he was thinking of something different. Look, it's no secret that the Padres analytics department is closer to the bottom of the league. It's just that's just a fact. And you see teams like the Rays and Oakland. I think Oakland might be middle of the pack, but I know like the Rays are top. It's no coincidence that analytics has been a kind of discussion here with the Padres and Bob Melvin, because he's come from an organization that used a lot of analytics to an organization that is not, I don't say they don't use a lot of analytics, but an organization that is towards the bottom of the league in
I mean,
analytics.
I will just say this. I mean, if I could play devil's advocate, I mean, according to whom?
Well, according to like baseball metrics and their department and how many people are in the department.
So
and
what baseball metric?
Well, you heard from Bob Melvin right there. He's just said, like, we are free to do our own thing.
But he didn't say that he doesn't have. He actually was also quoted saying, "I'm getting a ton of information."
And so,
but I'm saying I don't know if there's like a 1 through 30 ranking. You know what I mean? I think it's easy to say.
Look, I think you talk to
hey,
Dennis Lynn, and if you ask him about the
analytics.
Dennis, if you talk to anybody that covers his team, I would think that they would tell you that the analytic department is not.
I know Dennis has written about it, but I mean, I don't know if you can like pinpoint, like, so do the Giants have a better analytic department than the Padres? And how do we know that?
Maybe not say better, but you could maybe say like they try to utilize analytics more and they have a bigger analytic department. And I mean, you won 107 games last year predominantly because of analytics. I mean,
but then why aren't they winning 107 games this year? You know?
I mean, good point, but different players.
I just think I think it's an easy scapegoat a little bit. I'm not saying AJ Preller does it well. I have no clue how they use it. I'm just saying, like, do we know the difference between the Phillies analytics and the Padres analytics?
No, but also you can just use your eye test and you can see like majority of players that come through here. The example, Trace Thompson, and then they get shipped off somewhere else and they ball out with like the Dodgers. It doesn't. I mean, isn't that a weird coincidence? How that happens a lot?
I guess. I mean, and then we just say it's analytics. Like the analytics that Josh Naylor receives in Cleveland are better than the analytics he gets here, or the analytics that Ty France gets in Seattle are better than he gets here. That's just always the case everywhere.
Well, Eric Lauer said so. Cal Quantrill has said so. Like blatantly saying things like, when I was in San Diego, they weren't telling me, you know, the stuff I was being told here. And when I was told stuff here, it just was different than in San Diego.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think the points are valid. I do. I mean, are we going to blame Juan Soto's struggles on analytics? You know what I mean? Like, where does it end?
Oh,
like,
no.
At what point is the player? At what point are we going to blame Joe Musgrove's second half on analytics? Were the analytics really good in the first half?
I would put blame on analytics on player development with
Okay.
with young players in your organization. I would put it on maybe matchups with certain players or certain whatever. And I would put it a little bit on just the overall success of a team, just because maybe you tell a guy to do this instead of this, right? And they have to buy in first off, but it just seems like here it doesn't work all the time. And when other places it works a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably listen. I don't think the Padres have the best analytics department. I also don't know what percent role analytics plays over the course of 162. Is it worth one win or is it worth 100 wins? I have absolutely no idea. And I also think it's a dangerous game to play when you're comparing anything to the Dodgers right now. The Dodgers
Right.
for 10 straight years have averaged 100 wins per season. They're 20 games better than the Padres. The idea that Trace Thompson would be better with them than he is with the Padres doesn't shock me, because everything about the Dodgers organization is obviously right now superior to the Padres organization. Shoot, it's a better lineup. So when Trace Thompson gets plugged into the Dodgers lineup, there's a lot more around him than he had even in San Diego. So the point's valid. I understand it. But like this idea that Oakland's got this vastly superior analytics department because of Moneyball from 25 years ago, really? Then why is Oakland?
Well, they also had really good players.
Well, that's kind of my point. When Bob Melvin was managing the A's, didn't they have a good team?
They did, but were any of those teams vastly superior than this Padres team talent-wise?
No,
Maybe
but
a
those teams
couple.
also didn't. Maybe, but also those teams didn't have vastly more wins in a season than this Padres team. What did those teams win? 90 games?
Mid-90s,
Did he have
John.
he had a 100-win team or no? He didn't have a 100-win team,
He
did he?
never had 100. No, he did not have a 100-win team, but
Right.
but also look too, like the job of a coaching staff, the job of an organization is to not only fix players but help them out. I'm not saying that that the reason why Juan Soto's slumping is because of that, but Juan Soto's slumping mightily right now.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he needs a little help, and whatever that he's getting isn't working. And therein lies maybe a little bit of a problem, but I'm not saying it's the end all be all by no chance. But you can't tell me that there's not at least a little problem there to maybe a potentially big problem with development of young players.
Yeah, but yeah, it's probably true. I think I can already see the scapegoats, though. I can already see like the way this is going to be framed. When if they miss out in the postseason, it's like, well, they need to once again they completely need to overhaul their minor league system
New
and the way
hitting
they do
coach,
analytics.
new this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe, or maybe to your point, and our collective point, maybe Joe Musgrove needs to throw better in the second half. Maybe Juan Soto needs to perform better. Maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. needs to stay on the field. Like, there's a zillion things you can point to if this team does not reach the postseason, and I guess one of them will be analytics.